Welcome, everybody. This is episode 21 of the next generation of superstars. We are very grateful to have Dorian Miles here, who's originally from Snellville, Georgia. He's now playing wide receiver at Missouri Valley College. Pleasure to have you on the show.
Man, what's going on, man? It's a pleasure to be here, man. I'm excited, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell our audience a little bit how your story started, for your passion of football.
Man, so little kid, man, my brother is my hero. So my older brother, he's 8 years older than me, and he ended up going to the University of South Carolina and playing running back. So that tells you he was freaking good. Okay, so growing up, I'm like going to his games, and I'm like, bro, like I want to be so much like him. I mean, like I tried to get the same number. I mean, I even tried to play running back for a while. So like growing up, like watching my brother, and then like my dad, he always loved football. And, we would watch it all Saturday and Sunday. So it was like I couldn't get away from it, man. So it was like it was destiny, I think.
I love it. I love it. And what about as you got older, even like, through middle school and high school, how did you see, that support, from your older brother and the rest of your family, as well as your friends, as you're really taking your career seriously?
Man, so, and I say this respectfully, I wasn't one of those guys, man, who started young and like really took it seriously. I played, you know what I mean? I loved football, like, you know what I mean? But it wasn't really until like sophomore year of high school where my dad was like, hey, like lock in, like you can be something with this. And I was like, holy smokes. So, around sophomore year, my family and my friends, like they wouldn't allow me to do like the BS. Like if I was waking up on Saturday with nothing to do, if somebody was telling me to work out, like, you know what I mean? Somebody was telling me like, oh, here's this video, I think you should do this. So it was like, it was definitely a nest, man, of just a bunch of believers. So for me, like a lot of people say like, I do it to spite the haters. No, me, I do it for my believers, man. Like, dude, like they were so close knit through the whole process, especially when I was like, okay, I kind of want to, you know what I mean? Kick it up a notch.
I love it. I love it, man. And what about, your community back home, in Snellville? Like, how do you kind of interact with your community back home? Have you done any events or just really given back, or if you have plans to in the future, with your community?
So for me, man, like I love Gwinnett County, man. I love Snellville, Georgia, man. Snellville has been so good to me in a variety of ways, dude. Like growing up in Snellville is such a blessing. So shout out to G-Co, you know what I mean?
Oh.
But man, I think that when I was younger, I would say like when I say younger, I mean I'm old now, I'm an old man. But I was like when I was like 18, I was definitely coming back a lot more, you know what I mean? Because I went to Kennesaw State at that time. So, I was only 45 minutes away, you know what I mean? I always wanted to come back, support my friends, support the old football team, talk to the team a few times, Coach Jones, shout out to Coach Jay, man. He's really getting it done out there. But Coach Jones, he really had me come in there and talk maybe one or two times when I first was out there. But then after that, I ended up going all the way to Montana State Northern. So it was like, just being in the town wasn't happening anymore, you know what I mean? But I still, like, when I came home, I definitely went back and like, gave a lot of like the stuff like that I could to Goodwill, you know what I mean? And volunteered in the community when I saw like, it's so weird and people don't understand in Snellville, everybody is so close knit. Like you might be walking around, see a yard sale and then they're like, hey, can you guys help me with this? And before you know it, you're helping out with a whole yard sale for like 8 hours. And you don't even mind because it's just like, those are guys in the other neighborhood. So, you know what I mean? There's a lot of that. Like, and I would think once I came back from Montana, I had a whole different perspective on being so far from Snellville, you know what I mean? Because, I'm definitely a homebody. Like I love being in Snellville. I love my parents. Like, I love just being in the house. So, being 32 hours away was whoa. So then when I came home, it was like, man, I'm definitely giving back. I'm definitely trying to like, you know what I mean? Like the youth camps, like and stuff like that. Like I was trying to, help with the youth football, BFA, Brookwood Football Association, which was like, they raised me, man. But BFA, man, I definitely went out there and helped when I could. So there's a lot of giving back. And when I get older, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I want to get BFA, the Brookwood Football Association, black uniforms. Okay, I know that sounds crazy, but I've been thinking about this since I was like 14, bro. Like I want to get them black uniforms. So that's just going to be my contribution to team. Look, all ages, like, look, we got some black uniforms. So I know it sounds silly, but yeah, that's what I want to do.
That's awesome. And then, as you talk about so much of the youth and the community, I'm sure you have so many fans that look up to you as a role model. How does that, how do you interact with those fans? And especially, I've been at a couple different schools and even at the high school level and now being collegiate, what does that look like, in your engagement with those fans?
Well, man, it's different nowadays. Like I say, I'm a little bit older. Like when I was 18 and 19, I didn't really respect the process as much as I was excited to be there. I was working hard, you know what I mean? But I didn't grasp the moment for what it was, you know what I mean? Like when a little kid comes up to you and says, hey man, can you sign this football? Like back in the day, it was like, you know what I mean? Yeah, little guy, I got you. But for me, it was like, I'm glad I made his day, but I didn't see the magnitude of it. Like nowadays, when I see like little kids, like there will be like a little kid's parent who'll DM me on Instagram and like, hey, I wanted to see if you had little kids Ochenta shirts. Like, what? Heck yeah, like I got you. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like always having that support. Handling it is definitely like, it's different now. I definitely take a different respect to it. And it's like, I don't know, it warms my heart when somebody says I support what you're doing. Like, I want you to keep going, keep going. I'll support you in any way that I can. Dude, I want to reciprocate that energy in any way. Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. You made an important point there when you're talking about your brand of Ochenta. Talk to our audience a little bit about, how you started that brand, and now with NIL and everything, you can have your own personal brand and be able to actually promote that and get it out there to the world. What does
Yeah.
Ochenta stand for and mean, and how does that represent you with your brand?
Okay, so what is Ochenta? Man, shout out to Bonfire first off, man. Bonfire we collaborated and we came up with some really, really dope ideas. And Ochenta, honestly, my number is 80. So Ochenta is 80 in Spanish. And I just loved what happened was, I know I'm long-winded, but my teammates started calling me Ochenta. Shout out to Peck. He just called me Ochenta one day and I was like, oh no, that's kind of hard. Like, I like that. Like, and at my old school, people called me Ocho. So it was like, it just carried over. And so it was like, oh yeah, I like that. And before I knew it, like, my friends were calling me Ochenta. I like changed my Instagram name for a little while. Like, it was a vibe. So when they communicated with me, having Ochenta on the shirt was like, it was really cool for me because having a shirt with your like name on it is like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? Let's sit here and wear this sweatshirt, bro. I'm like, man, that's like such a blessing. Like, you know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
there's a few other ones like what it means to me is when I first got into this and wanted this brand, I'm not as excited about the Ochenta with the silhouette. I love it, you know what I mean? It's such a blessing, but I'm more excited about the other ones. Like we have another one that says pray before play, which is like, for me, I'm a very devout athlete. Like, I love sports, but I love God more than I could ever love a sport. Like, you know what I mean? I love God. So, you know what I mean? Everything I do is for him. And so it was the perfect opportunity to use my platform, you know what I mean, to push, what I believe. And, if you support, you support. If you don't, you know what I mean, they're still pretty dope. So, you know what I mean? So having those, like I have another one called 80 Blessings, which is my number with blessings, you know what I mean? And, there's just, for that one, it was really special to me because I said that like throughout the day, you can easily count out 80 blessings. Like you don't even think of 80 things that you can thank God for, you know what I mean? That's how I was thinking about it. Like, man, you know how many things you can thank God for in a day? Like you would be talking all day. So 80 blessings was just like, dude, 80, that's my number. Like, I know I can think of 80 blessings on a day. Whenever I'm sad, bro, I know I can think of 80 things to make me like, dang, you woke up today, you know what I mean? So
100%.
for me, yeah. So for me, it was just an opportunity to use my platform and get some pretty dope gear and just push, what I believe in. So it was cool.
No, it's unreal. And you made an important point when you were talking about prayer, and I think that kind of turns into, as a student athlete, especially you go through so much, just on the field, off the field. How do you stay, focused, motivated, kind of like in the present moment? Especially when you're training or even off the field. How do you balance that as an athlete?
Man, dude, I think that, and I'm gonna say this a million times in this podcast, so I'm so sorry. As an older dude, man, like it's a lot different. You know what I mean? I'm a homebody now. Like I work, really hard in my craft. Like, you know what I mean? When I'm not on the field, like I'm probably online trying to broaden my brand, trying to collaborate with other brands and stuff like that. Yeah. So handling like all the quote unquote distractions along with the things that you need to do, it became easy to compartmentalize on, okay, this is what I have to do. And I watch a lot of different people online as much as, I watch, prayer and, you know what I mean, church services. But I watched this dude, David Goggins, and I read his book. Dope dude. I mean, just all about pushing yourself to maximum potential. And after reading that, I read The Art of War. I read Be Like Water by Bruce Lee. All these books were just molding me into like, bro, you can do like a lot. You just have to distract yourself from the things that aren't important right now. Because at the end of the day, the past is no longer here. You can't change the past. and you can't look into the future because that's not here right now. You can only stay in the moment. And for me, staying in the moment is so important, even if it means, okay, let me write down this assignment. Like, let me make sure that this assignment is done by today if I have time, or let me make sure I collaborate with this brand or send this email. So it's been really easy to handle a lot of the quote unquote stressors because I mean, I pray often, I read, and I don't really distract myself with a lot of the things that are easy to distract yourself with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the more we're having this conversation about this, it's showing that you are an athlete entrepreneur, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's what so many athletes are starting to look into that route because they're able to take control of their brand and do so much stuff. Talk a little bit about you being an athlete entrepreneur. How do you said you listen to David Goggins and other people like that. Who are some of your other role models or mentors that's really helped you in really perfecting your craft?
Okay, so that's a great question. For me, who has helped me mold? Like I keep saying David Goggins, but for me, it's just the books that I read, and there's a lot of different authors that I could name, but it may just be readers, like the real readers out here are gonna probably kill me, but I'm a good one and done. Like if I like that one book by you, I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna annotate it, I'm gonna highlight, write it, and all that. So I'm one and done with a lot of different authors. Okay,
I love it.
but so like I love to like really just broaden my perspective, and that's why I listen to people like David Goggins, for example. Like you listen to him and you're like, wow, like this dude really just is relentless. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's going to get it by any means necessary. Let's get it, let's do it. And at the same time, I know that this isn't a video, but I read that book, Be Like Water by Bruce Lee. And it's the complete, like, quote unquote opposite. It's like, don't attack it. Like, just be like water, man. Just vibe it out, be able to go with the highs and the lows, you know what I mean? So having that healthy balance is cool. And then the most important person is, like I said, my hero, my brother, dude. I call that dude, like, there's so many memes out there where it's like calling my mom at the most minor inconvenience. No, I'm calling my brother like, bro, like, I called my brother this morning to ask him what shoes I should wear with this Eagles jersey. Like, that should tell you, like, bro, I call him about everything, bro. Like, so having him to ask like real serious questions, he's doing a lot in his life right now, and he's been exactly where I've been before, except he hasn't been in the NIL space, so he loves to hear about this stuff. Like he's like, dude, you should hit up this brand, hit up this brand. I'm, for sure, man. Like it's awesome. So I would definitely say, like, along with the books that I read, my brother, my mom and dad are two people who neither one. My mom is currently in college right now, which is really cool. She's on my motivation, really. Like we had a competition over the summer to see who could get a higher GPA. Like, you know what I mean? So having that motivation, and my dad is like super hardworking. Like, you know what I mean? Having all that like in-house, having a bunch of people who, like I said, they were in the original nest of people who are going to continuously believe in me. Those are the people who mold me, man, like every single day.
That's awesome. No, it's incredible. And, kind of going off that, what lessons have you taken away from, being a football athlete and kind of applied that to, the real world, right? And different stuff you're doing as you're building your brand and then, doing academics. What are some of those lessons that you really, take away that help you every single day?
Yeah, okay. So for me, I think that, but beyond the easy things, like, you know what I mean? Like everybody says like the cliches, like football teaches you discipline, football teaches you this. I think that football is one of the top two sports that I say parallels life in a manner of dealing with adversity, dealing with, you know what I mean? Being able just, when you don't want to do it, you have to go to practice. When you don't want to do it, you have to do this. And I mean, I learned a lot from football and in playing for a bunch of different coaches, having a lot of different perspective, like, you know what I mean? Man, uh, sorry, I got long-winded, but
No.
what was the original question? I'm sorry.
The lessons you've learned,
Lessons I've learned. Okay.
other lessons that you've learned that's really helped, kind of molded you into the individual you are today from football.
So lessons I've learned. One, when I went to college, I was redshirted, like as a freshman. And mind you, I was I wasn't as humble as I should have been at the time. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't thinking like I am now. Like I was thinking, man, at my high school, I was like, dude, man, like, what do you mean you're gonna redshirt me? The dude in front of me was like all conference, like potential All-American. And I'm like, what do you mean he's gonna start in front of me? Like, I'm just as good. No, you're not. Like, you know what I mean? You need a season to work out. And so I think that taught me like sometimes there are going to be people that you need to learn from. You're not always going to be the smartest person in the room. You're not going to be the most athletic. You're not going to always have the best idea, but you can always learn something from someone. So in that year, I learned so much from the receivers in that room. Like, I looked at my film literally yesterday, and I always look at film like from old times when I get like, man, I got to train. Let me see what I want to do. And I look at my stuff from like my freshman year of college, like at Kennesaw State. And then after my freshman year, where I was redshirted, and I learned from Justin Sumter, and Xavier Harper, Jordan Walker, all these real dogs, like, that at the time were just better than me, bro. And I was like, man, like, after seeing that, I was like, man, I could really learn from people. Like, we got cool off the field. Like, football taught me like how to develop a relationship with somebody that you may not have anything in common with. Like, there are people on my team right now that like I have nothing in common with, but we both went skiing one time. And before I knew it, we were just talking about skiing. And turns out that he lived an hour and a half away from me when we were young. Like, you know what I mean? So it's stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of lessons that I took away from the process. And the most important one I would say is to always, always, always gamble on yourself. Always. I don't care if the odds are stacked against you. I don't care if it looks impossible. Bro, bet on yourself, because when all odds are against you and nobody's looking at you, that's when you pop out. That's when things go right. Like, I'm telling you, like, you just have to bet on yourself, even when things don't look good. So I would definitely say that's the most important one.
No, and Dorian, all great points, and I absolutely agree with all of that. You know, if you can really just bet on yourself to win, that's what the perseverance and relentlessness and all that stuff that we talked about earlier, that's where it all shows off. And that's where it really pays off, because you really can get through those obstacles and challenges that allows you to become that better version of yourself that you wouldn't have otherwise gotten to. And now, Dorian, we're going to touch on a little more of what we spoke about earlier, the NIL space, how big it's becoming, how it's such, you know, it was a long time coming, and now we're all grateful that it's now here. Athletes can go meet, grow their network, grow their revenue streams, really just get their presence out there, even on a global scale. What was your thoughts when you saw the NIL in the summer of 2021, and now where it is today?
Dude, so first off, it was the craziest thing ever, because when I got to school, when I got to college, that was not a thing. Okay, that was not a thing. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, what? So we can get paid. And mind you, I had like these outlandish thoughts of like, bro, I'm gonna be this is so easy. Like, I'm gonna get paid for playing football. Granted, once I did my research and understood a little bit more, I still thought it was dope. I think that's I think giving college athletes the ability to use their name, image, and likeness to create revenue streams, not just streams. That's what we all want, is multiple streams of revenue. So giving them the ability to collaborate with this brand and collaborate with this brand, something that may be used for the next 10 years, something that may be used for the next 15 years. They'll have that consistent business relationship, regardless of if he plays football in the league, if he goes to work at an accounting firm, if he goes and is a garbage truck driver, it doesn't matter. Like, he's always gonna have that relationship. I think NIL was I mean, 1,000 IQ play. I think that it gave athletes a lot of freedom. And I think that most importantly, there's a sense of freedom that comes with NIL. And I don't think that a lot of people who played sports before NIL understand. Bro, playing sports before NIL, you couldn't even make money if somebody gave you an envelope of $1,000, you had to walk away. You know what I mean? He could say, I want to start a clothing brand for you. I want to make your dreams come true. And you got to be like, man, I can't do that, man. Like, but nowadays, you give players up. I saw a player signed to Wiz Khalifa's label, like, just as an NIL deal, just to promote his music. You know, when you make your TikToks, man, promote my music. That's freaking crazy, bro. Like, what? Like, things like this, like seeing athletes, like, there's this one dude in the D3 level, which I think is amazing. He's a dog. I can't remember his name right now. It's like 30 NIL deals. He's got his own academy now. It's called My All Academy. It's Make Your Own Legacy. Dude, dog. I think that that's the craziest thing ever. When I saw that, I was like, I got to step the game up. Like, no, he's going crazy. So it's like, when you give athletes the ability to do that, you give us an ability to be our true selves, in a sense. Like, I would have never thought that I would have a clothing brand, except for when I was in high school, and I was like, man, I want to have a clothing brand. But then I went to college, and I was like, yeah, well, playing football. Like, you know what I mean? Now it's like, dude, I have a clothing brand. Like, it's cool. Like being able to post online and you be on a brand's Instagram, like people don't understand. Like back when you first got that was no go, bro. Like
True.
the fact that I can go on Mercedes-Benz page and see Shador Sanders, like what is he doing here? Oh, he's one of their athletes. That's cool. Like that's so cool. You see athletes collaborate with brands that if NIL wasn't here, you would have never seen them collaborate with them. And I think that, like I said, building these business relationships with college athletes now is amazing. It's so cool.
And even with that high school level, and it's like, it's just the relationships and the network you can have, and it gives brands opportunity to tap into different stuff. Like it's just, there's so much synergy, and it's a win-win situation for everybody, and it's only going to help for years after. Even if an athlete doesn't go professionally or whatever they want to do, it's building those relationships. And that's, I wrote about my LinkedIn the other day. NIL is about relationships. If you're a brand, or if you're an athlete, if you don't put those relationships together, then you're not doing yourself justice. I mean, that's what it's about. It's about building true, meaningful relationships that are going to help both parties succeed. In the respective manner. And I think that's what's so incredible about it. And you said it perfectly and spot on. Dorian, I wanted to talk a little bit more about what are your other hobbies or passions or interests outside of just football, and when you're working on your craft of your businesses. What are some of your hobbies and passions that you love to do when you have free time on your hands?
Man, what do I do when I have free time? Okay, dude, I do a lot of real hippie type things, man. I take walks, I read books, man. I just go sit in nature. I love Fortnite, bro. If I join a squad, I'm probably not gonna carry, but I'm in there. If we're playing for 8 hours, I'm there. If we're playing for 8 minutes, I'm there. So
it looks like we're playing Fortnite right after this podcast then.
Bro, what?
I love it too. I'm all about it.
I think I'm in the lobby right now, so you don't even got to worry about that. I'm gonna link up and we gonna play a little bit.
That's awesome,
dude. Playing Fortnite. Always, anytime I have free time, like I FaceTime my daughter because my daughter's just so dope. She's so cool. Like I FaceTime my daughter if I can daily. And sometimes I'll call her and she's like, in a 2. She's like about to turn 2, so she's going through it right now. But you know what I mean. So it's cool. Like FaceTime my daughter. I love Uno and Monopoly. I love board games. Dude, I do a lot of okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's about it, pretty much. Yeah, outside of that. Or I'll go hoop with my teammates. Like I like to play basketball, but I haven't done that in some weeks, and they've really been getting on to me about that. Like I need to get back in the gym with them. So I'll probably actually do that here in the next couple of days.
I love it. And then speaking about we just wrapped up this month of January. Now we're in February, which it flew by. What are some of your goals that you have just for yourself, whether it's, on the field or off the field? What are some of your top goals that you want to really go after and crush this year?
Oh, awesome. Okay. So my goals. So in the goal of 2023, I had a lot of goals, but ironically, the month of February, I really wanted to, one, strengthen my relationship with God. I wanted to definitely get onto a prayer schedule and wake up in the morning, be able to pray, be able to talk to God about, anything. I got on a verse of the day schedule where I post like a verse of the day every day. Like, that was a big thing. I wanted to learn the slide release. This I know that sounds weird, but I saw it on TikTok. I don't know, it was like this 14-year-old kid. He like released, but then he slipped. It was the hardest thing I ever seen from like a minor, bro. So I said I was gonna learn that. Coach Purdom, our weight training coach, he's been going crazy in the weight room with us. So I said I wanted to gain some weight. So I've been trying to gain like 2 or 3 pounds, which doesn't seem like a lot, but 2 or 3 pounds is real good. Like I can't gain weight for nothing sometimes. So
I feel I'm the same way. I feel you.
Dude, I'm telling you. And then dude, I wanted to, what else? There was a lot of stuff. And then I wanted to work on, well, this isn't really just February. This was like just a consistent monthly thing. I wrote it in every month, but work on my mental health. Like just be able to take time to relax, de-stress, be able to analyze my day, find coping mechanisms to deal with stress and anxiety, because it's always going to come. It doesn't matter who you are. You're always going to have stressors. You're always going to have anxiety at moments. So having a good coping mechanism, like I say, I play video games, I read books, I go sit in nature, like, you know what I mean? Having most of those are coping mechanisms that I just turned into hobbies, you know what I mean? So I think that was a strong one as well, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's huge because mental health awareness it's growing because it needs to be talked about more. And so do you think what you said, video games or just walking in nature, have those been, coping mechanisms that have helped you the most dealing with your mental health every day?
Yeah, I think that something as simple as I read this book and it was called The Book of Mindfulness. And it's this little blue book. It's like maybe 50 pages. And it would tell you to do little things daily, like go out and just no phone, no ear buds. Just go out and look at the trees. And I know that sounds so crazy, but like that's stuff that you don't normally do, bro. Like when I'm out and about, I'm probably scrolling or like trying to make a phone call or on FaceTime. Like, dude, now like there's times where I know people look at me like I'm crazy. Like I'm just walking around town, like no phone, vibing out, no music, waving, like, you know what I mean? So like, real, dude, I think that was like definitely one that really, a coping mechanism that turned into a hobby. So I think that was one that really helped with mental health. It's just going out and looking at life, looking at nature. Everything isn't gray. You know what I mean? You got to look at the positive. Like the grass is greener outside because you're indoors right now. So like go outside. Like
Take a break from technology. We're all in tech now. It's like, we're on Zoom and people doing meetings.
Right.
You have to, really stay in the present moment, get outside and really just, stay grounded in the moment we're living in.
Yeah. And like for me, like as a literal senior citizen, when I was a kid, we like went outside daily. I remember when I got my first phone, I got in trouble for running out my text messages, and most of them, which is not a thing anymore. So that just told my age. But I got in trouble for running out my text messages, and it was literally because I was asking my friends, "Can you guys come outside today?" Like we used to go outside every day. Like that was just what we did. So it's like being in the age of technology now, where everything we do, school sometimes on the phone, on the laptop, communication on the laptop, the lack of just outside contact, like I don't know, getting the opportunity to just grasp that for a little bit, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. Something as simple as just, I know you have like, there's times where you just walk the same path that you always do, like going to work, going to Starbucks, going to whatever. Just don't take your phone out and just look around. And I know you'll feel awkward because you're like looking for your hands to like, what do I do with my hands? Yeah, like what do I do with my hands? But bro, I promise you, once you get comfortable with it, you'll be like, wow, like, man, hey, how's it going? Like you become more receptive to other people, you become more approachable, because that's the thing. When you're looking down at your phone and you're scrolling, nobody's gonna say, hey, you have a nice shirt on today. Hey, nice shoes. Like me, I'm a complimenter and people get so mad. Like my friends are like, dude, you don't even know that guy. And I'm like, dude, what? He has a Pink Floyd t-shirt on. Like, dude, that's dope. Like, you know what I mean? So like, that's how I am. Like you're just become more receptive to outside energy. So
right. And I think it's a great balance. And I think going back, I know you're big with social media. What kind of advice would you give to, not only athletes, but also the fans, for wanting to grow their presence? What are a couple things that have helped you the most when you've really, grown your social media presence? I see you posting content consistently. What are some of the tactics that you use that really helps you, kind of develop your online brand?
Yeah, okay. So for me, the biggest rule that I have when people ask me, because I help my friends now, like, people on the brand, like me and them have become cool. Like, we got some really cool people over at X Factor, man. Like, there's cool athletes, cool guys, cool women. You know what I mean? Just cool everybody. So, people ask me like, dude, so like, what do I do? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, bro, you have 47 drafts. Like, post them. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
don't leave it in the draft section. Put it out there.
Yeah, like put it out there. All that content that you think, oh man, like there's no way this is gonna do anything, bro. Post it. What if it does? Like, you know what I mean? I'm a very glass half full person. Okay. If I get 10 views, I think that's 10 more views that I didn't get if I wouldn't have posted it. So, all right, let's analyze. Like, you know what I mean? Like for me, I don't care. Like, I love the people who love my videos. Thank you so much. The people who like run my views up. Like, that's awesome. Like, I'm doing a raffle now, literally because there were so many people, and I was like, bro, I gotta give them something. Like, I gotta do something for these guys. Like, so I'm doing a raffle or whatever, but like, just post your content, okay? All of it. The things that you think that other people won't like, don't post it for other people, post it for you. And I promise when people see your authenticity, because that's the thing, social media is you stand out when you're authentic. You know what I mean? Like, and I hope that that's how I come out on social media. I know that sometimes I'm smiling super hard with a brand, but you know what I mean? I hope that it's authentic, but when you preach your own authenticity and who you are, people either like it or they don't. And I promise you, more people like authenticity than people who don't. So it's like, post some authentic content that you relate to, whether you think the other people are like it or not. Post your drafts, collaborate with other people. Don't be afraid to send that DM. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are people that I've DM'd, like real life human beings, like they're just other human beings, where I'm like, man, I would love to collaborate with them, left on red. And I'm like, wow, they must have been busy. And then I just go on about my day. But like, if I wouldn't have asked, I would never know that _135 blank 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 didn't want to collaborate with me. Like, you know what I mean?
You
So
have to put yourself out there. You got to ask and go and be proactive. And it's
yeah,
just like you have to go and do the action, and you don't know what the result's
right.
going to be, but that's part of getting out of your comfort zone and going
Yeah.
and building your authentic self out there. Because that's going to
Yeah.
translate when you're offline, when you're at conventions or events and stuff like that. You can
Yeah.
still portray that same authenticity, and because you've practiced so much when you're doing it online, it's just it helps, it balances it out, right? It helps when you're doing
Yeah.
it in person, when you're online, doing that consistently. Like you said, is really going to help you carry momentum and get used to that action of doing it.
Exactly. And it's like another thing is like when you're on social media, a lot of people like don't don't be afraid to like just post something that's not trendy. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people, like for example, I have a TikTok, right? I had 26,000 followers. I had another one before that had like 100 and something thousand followers where only thing I did was post trends. Dude, people would like refer to my page. I wouldn't even remember the TikToks they're talking about. Like, I don't remember what you're talking about. Like, but it would go viral. And like, even on this account, the one that not the one that I just started, but the one that I used to use a lot more, it was like that where I was just trend hopping. I feel so much better where if I get 5 views, but I know that it doesn't have, like I'll use that sound. Yeah, the sound is dope, but like I don't have to do the dance or do the trend that they're doing. Like I'm gonna do whatever I want to do with the sound because at the end of the day, it's your platform. People think that they have to follow somebody else's rule manual. You never do. You're the author of your own script. You just have to write. Like people just always put the pen down as soon as somebody starts talking. Like, no, keep writing. What do you want to do? So I don't know. That's what I always tell my friends, dude, just post. Like you're asking me, do I like this? What does that matter? Like, who cares if I like this? There's probably somebody in Indonesia right now who's gonna like send you to a group chat because that's so dope to them. Like, who cares? I look at my outreach on Instagram sometimes, it's in different countries. Like, what? Like, thanks. But dude, I would have never known because I just posted that day. I just posted whatever I wanted to that day. Like, I don't know. It's just so dope. Like social media is so cool. It is.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, Dorian, we've had a lot of great, you've given a lot of wisdom and a lot of great insights and perspectives in this, but I do want to wrap it up with an important sector right here. The youth and the next generation, everyone that looks up to you, what would 3 pieces of advice that you would give to them? Any life lessons that you've had or anything that you would just pass down to help them in their own journey. What would those 3 pieces of advice be?
Okay. 3 pieces of advice. Okay, well, one, very easy. I don't know who has what faith or what you believe in, but I will always offer number one as when things get hard, when things seem impossible, when things seem like you cannot do it, when everybody's telling you you can't, when everybody is making you feel like it's impossible, I promise you there's one person who's always going to believe in you, and that's God. Like, pray to God, read your Bible whenever you're stressed. Like, I promise you, and you don't have to read it like for art thou, yank, yank, yank. Like, bro, there's real translations where like it's like easy to read and stuff. So I would say develop a relationship with whatever your higher being is. For me, it's Christianity. I love God. You may be a Buddhist, you may be a Muslim, whatever you intend to relate to as far as it's bigger than me. I really believe that you should dive into that. 2, don't waste time when you have it. Like for me, I wish I could go back. There's times where I think about when I was like 18, 19, where like I sat around and I'm like, bro, if I could have just trained or if I could have done this, like, dude, who knows where I would be? You never want to live life with regrets, man. So I would say that take advantage of all your free time. And if you're taking advantage of it by de-stressing, that's excellent. You're doing something that's bettering yourself. That don't think that de-stressing is bad. So I just say make use of your free time. Do something that I tweet it all the time. Do something to make yourself better today. Be better than you were yesterday. And a lot of people are like, what do you mean by that? Bro, I'm not saying that like you gotta like double up, like I gotta make 2 times my salary. Like, no, I'm just saying like whatever you struggled with yesterday, make it intentional that you won't struggle with it today. Like, dude, it's little things like something as simple as like being late to class. Like for me, I remember when I first got in school, bro, I used to, and I'm telling on myself here, bro, but I used to be late to class, man. I was,
I can relate to
or
that.
not
I had
present.
to fix that because I used to be late to a lot of classes too.
Yeah, you know what I
Today I'm
mean?
not gonna be late to class. I'm gonna change it up.
I would still come though. But now it's like something as simple as I gotta go to class. I want to be there early. I want to be there 5 minutes early. Make it intentional. And then number three, which is what leads into what I just said leads into number three is be intentional about everything that you do. Okay. You can't live your life in that gray area. Okay. And I know that a lot of people will tell you like, don't put your eggs all in one basket. No, like, bro, if you at the time, you can get more eggs. People don't tell you that. People just think like you live life with 10 eggs and that's all you got. You put them in that basket and you're done for life. No, you can get a multitude of eggs. Put them all in that basket now. You know what I mean? Use them, make more eggs, or if you run out, go get some more eggs from the store. But put all your eggs in whatever basket you think and dive in head first and just 10 toes on it. So I would think that, yeah, those are my big three, definitely.
I love it. Dorian, just to recap everything you said number one, when things get hard, believe in faith or God or some type of faith that you respectfully believe in. And number
Yeah.
two, don't waste time, take advantage of the time you do have, and really cherish that and make the most of it. And number three, be intentional about your actions. And that analogy with the eggs is so true. No one says that, you can't go get more eggs. Be intentional in what you're going to do and do it. And if you want to make a pivot and change, and then go and make that adjustment and go in and be intentional with those actions. So
Yeah.
awesome stuff. Dorian Miles here. We're very grateful, like I said, to have you on this show. You drop gems and great pieces of advice and perspectives.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dorian all over social media and look out for his year coming up in the fall. Awesome to have you on the show.
Dude, thank you so much for having me, man. Man, follow Bird Sports if you don't know, I'm just playing, but yeah, follow, man. Thank you for everybody who watched. Thank you for people who are going to watch, but yeah, follow the brand like you said, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Thank you, Dorian.
Awesome. You have a great night, man.